There we go. Hello, everyone. I think I've got it working. There we go. Hi. How's everyone today? Is the sound okay? Is the sound okay? Oh, give me 1 second. There we go. Okay. Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Oh, let me just take this out of the way. I usually don't have my mirror there. Looks better this way, I think. How is everyone today? I see Letty, you're here. Hi Letty. It is Sunday. It's hot. I'm having lunch, and you're having a salad. In England, Sunday meant a big family roast lunch. Right. I really miss having Sunday lunches. When I was a kid, my mom would always make a roast chicken or roast pork. Well, not pork, but roast lamb or something. I really miss that. Yeah, Letty, so good to see you. Everybody, hello. Please put hi in the comments so that I know that you're here. Yeah, hi, Jinyon. You were the first one to comment. How are you today? You said your weekend was great. What did you do? Actually, yeah, I'm a little bit off of my game because I'm still recovering from last night. I went out with a couple of friends and came back home quite late. So, in the past, I used to be able to recover very quickly, but it's getting more and more difficult. I don't know how many nights I've got left in me, but hopefully not too many like that. It was fun, but it's just getting tougher to deal with the consequences. What is that expression? If you go and you drink a little bit, it steals. If you have too much fun during the night, it's going to steal some of your happiness the next day if you're hungover. But yeah, everyone, welcome. Today, is the sound okay? Can everyone hear me? I know sometimes I have issues with the sound. Is it too loud? Is it perhaps too loud? Let me quickly hear. Everyone, welcome. It sounds okay. Yeah, so today I've got a really good episode. Letty, yeah, I made some animation. Can't wait to upload it. Yeah, I put on the bell icon. Actually, Jinyon makes animations, and I've watched a few of them. They're really good, and they can only get better in the future. So if you have time, check out Jinyon's channel. But it's not on this channel. Jinyon, quickly drop the link to your channel in the comments. Letty, that is typical for young people. The thing is, Letty, yeah, I don't consider myself a young person anymore. I know it's, it depends. It's all relevant, right? Yeah, yeah, I don't think I've got too many of these in me, but it was fun while it lasted. Yeah, so today I put in a question in the community page. I asked people, what did you want me to talk about? And overwhelmingly on the Facebook group and on the YouTube channel, people said that they wanted to hear more about online teaching. Now, I've spoken to quite a few teachers about this, and I know many of the other ESL YouTubers, they put out a lot of content on online teaching because that is what we as teachers need. And fortunately for myself too, I've spent a lot of time trying to teach online. Not a lot of time, but this last semester was online, and I became familiar with Zoom, and I started sharing some of the things that worked for me. So that is something that I'm going to talk about. Yeah, I'm saying too much. Shouldn't say too much. There, I did it again. Yeah, so I put together a list of things that can help you with your online teaching. So I'll put out a couple more videos on how to teach online and some ideas and things that I looked up. So it'll be a good one. Weak sauce, my brother, crack a fresh baby and you'll be right as rain. Yeah, the hair of the dog that bit you. No, I don't think I'm going to do that. But yeah, Paul, I hope you're doing well too. Yeah, so everyone, if you're here, I'll start because sometimes I wait too long to start and there's so much to talk about. If you have any questions or any comment or anything you want to say, put it in the comments below. Okay, let's get started. So, saying too much. Hopefully, I'll feel better soon, and as I get on with it, I'll do better. So, online teaching is what most teachers have to do right now. We did it last semester, and now it's vacation. Next semester, hopefully, we will have classes. The students will come to university. But I know that some universities and some schools have announced that they're going to be online for the fall semester too. So I'm going to make a couple of videos to help teachers to do that. Obviously, I've spoken about it before. The tools that I use Zoom. The reason I use Zoom is because you've got breakout rooms where you can put students into groups, and then for them to do activities together or with a partner. And I also use the whiteboard a lot. I am not familiar with some of the other ones. Vahid, you made it. So good to see you. Leti, I've used Zoom, which is fine, but is there a way to give points in a fun way? Points for the Letty, points for the students when you talk with the students, or would you like me to give some points and tips on Zoom? Because I'm definitely going to do that now. Vahid, yeah, today I'm going to talk about online teaching. So if you have anything to share about that, I think I'll enjoy that too. On Thursday, I spoke to another professor that I know that's also really good at using online teaching, and we traded a couple of ideas and things to use. Most schools and universities have LMS, a learner management system, where you can go in and you can send students messages, you can update them. If you're doing the flipped classroom model, what I like to do is I like to send my students videos and documents on what we will do for the next week so that they are prepared. The reason we do that is that students can learn vocabulary and simple grammar, and they can go through the work so that when they come to the class, they can focus on those HOTS, the higher order thinking skills, right? So they can practice it's more about them practicing speaking. For example, if you're teaching English like I am, you want to focus on speaking classes. Zoom versus Google Meet. Which one is better for online teaching? Jinyon, I cannot say. I haven't used online teaching. Letty, using Zoom for games. Now, I've got something that I think I like to do. It's something that I do in my normal classes too. When I have to put students into groups, or if I have to ask them questions, or let's say they have to do a presentation, to pick the order in which they're going to do the presentation, I use fun games called pickers. I call them pickers. It's a way to pick the students or the order, and you can do it in so many creative ways. So let's say, for example, I want to pick students. So the students do a dialogue with a partner. They create a dialogue, and then they come back to the main room, and I want to pick some groups to go first, or some students, because if there are too many students, you can't give all of them a chance to do feedback. That would take too long and it's boring. So you just take a few. So what I do with pickers is it's something very easy. So let's say the very first day, I would tell them, okay, everybody, send me a message. So let's say they've never used Zoom before. Now they quickly have to go in and send me a message, or I ask them, send me a number. What number do you want to present in? And they come back and they put in a number, and it takes them a short amount of time. If they know Zoom, it will be quick. But even if they know Zoom, they suddenly have to do it, and you can check who's paying attention. Or you can do something like, everybody give me a thumbs up. And now they're struggling to give a thumbs up. Some students put their thumbs in front of their cameras. Some of them figured it out, and then you say, oh, they figured it out. Or you would say, you open up the whiteboard, and on the whiteboard you ask them, okay, everyone, quickly write down your name. Or you make blocks, and you say, everybody go into the block. Or if you have if you click on participation, it will show you a list of names, and you can say, okay, everyone, tell me yes. And then they have to figure out how to go there. So with all these things, you can also tell them, send me a private message to do something. So that is a way for you, or I tell them to send me a message, and then I write their names on the whiteboard so that they can see. So yeah, Jinyon, I think I should look at Google Meet and Google Classroom, but honestly, since I found something that worked for me, what I do, for example, is I use Zoom and I use Kakao. So I got all the students Kakao, and I put it into Kakao is like WhatsApp or Line. If you use that, it's a messaging app that's very popular in Korea. And because I know that all the students use it, and if I send them a message, they're going to get it in 5 minutes. It's better than an email, because you never know when students check their emails. But with messaging, they're glued to their phone, so they should have it. And also, you have to do it on LMS. What I would say is, when you do online teaching, is that you want to make sure that all your work. Elsa, you made it. Hi, Elsa. How are you today? I'm fighting through a late night last night, so I'm trying to talk a lot to get into the spirit of things. But every time I see you guys, you know, let's say an hour ago, I was, I can't, it's a struggle to stay, you know, stay alive. And then when I come here and I start talking and I see your names, it makes me feel a lot better. So thank you to everyone that's here. And put your names in so I know who's there. Okay. Jinyan said, my sister used Zoom when government shut down all school. It was very interesting. Yeah, no, I had a great time. You know, I think I was talking to this other professor and our classes went so well. You know, for me, it was just like normal class because I would have my schedule and I would see the students for at least an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 30 minutes, where other professors might just ask students to send in activities or send them recordings of themselves, which is boring, you know. But I had classes and all the students came in. So first of all, I think it worked very well to do that. And if we did go online, I wouldn't be too bothered by it. The only problem, the downside is, you know, when there are other professors that just send them, the students, their work, it means that they are prepared for the next semester if it was going to go online because they've got all this. Letty, yes, I do have a hangover. I didn't want to admit it live on the stream, but yeah, I'm just working through it at the moment. I'm trying to drink a lot of water. Yeah, it's getting difficult. I don't think I should do that anymore. Migam, you made it. Hi Migam, how are you today? I'm talking about online teaching and I haven't even got, I've just spoken like randomly about a lot of things, but I've got, during the week I wrote down a script of things that I will say in one of the new videos I will make about online activities and online teaching. The first tip, the first thing I want to talk to you about is, I talked about, it's much easier if you prepare your students for success. If you let them know exactly what they're going to be studying before each class starts, so they can prepare the vocabulary or some grammar tips and things, and learn about the material. So any subject you have, any topic, give the students maybe a paper with vocabulary. Or what I used to do is I took a quick video and I sent it on Kakao. I messaged it to them, a short video of 5 minutes where I go through the book and I explain what we're going to talk about. So the students watch that. It's a short video of 4 minutes. And now they know exactly what's going to happen in the next class and we can focus on speaking. One extra thing I want to mention, and this is something you can use in your normal classes too, and it is something called sentence starters. Actually, it's got a couple of words. It's called sentence starters, sentence stems, or it's also called signal words. Who knows what that is? Yeah, Migam, it stopped raining today, and then, you know, it's been raining a lot in Korea, but now, you know, I hate it when, you know, when I'm tired and it's such a beautiful day outside and I waste the whole day. Don't you just feel horrible if you do that? I hope you had a much better one. Nino, nice to meet you. How are you tonight? I'm not good, but I'm good talking to everyone here. Okay, so I was talking about sentence stems. Who knows what that is? So sentence stems, especially in the English classroom, you want the students to start using academic language, and it's also things to help them in the class. So for example, you can write on the board, you can say things like, I think, I believe, I agree, I disagree. So that students, when you ask students a question, you say, oh, what do you think about your friend's answer over there? You've got a poster behind you, or if you are teaching, you can have maybe a poster with the words here. So you can have these sentence starters so that students, if you ask them a question, instead of them just, you know, either being in shock or they don't know what to say, they see these sentence stems and they can say, I believe that he is right, or I agree with him, or I disagree because. And now I quickly want to tell you some of the sentence stems. So, you know, some of these sentence stems can activate prior knowledge. You know, for example, it can say, I already know, I think this is similar to. It can clarify, I think. You can also have the, I don't understand. please explain it again. You know, so instead of the students being like shocked and they don't know, they can see, oh, please explain again. I don't understand this part. You can have something like, I learned, because at the end of my classes, I ask my students, what did you learn today? And then if there's a sentence stem on the board or on a poster, the students can see I learned about, and then they already, because the sentence starts, you know, it's much easier for them to formulate an answer. Okay, some extra ones. Where did I write it down? Just give me 1 second. I just had it here. I wrote down these scripts during the week. Where is it? Is it this one? No, it's not this one. This one's cool charts. Yeah, so what do you guys think? Are there some sentence stems that you use in your classroom that you think can be useful? No, it's not that one. It's not that one. Here, found it. Okay. Okay, yeah, so it can be to activate prior knowledge. It can be to clarify information, to summarize, to help them respond to a question. I read that. I agree, I disagree. You can have some extra ones. I actually have a poster. Yeah, I don't understand. Please explain again. Can you give me an example? I have a question about. I agree with. I think. I would like to add. I don't think. I think the answer is. Right? So you can use these to help the students. It's like prefabricated phrases, and it works for some students. Ryan, hi. How are you doing? What about the videos? Eric, what videos? Using videos in online teaching or my videos? What do you mean, Elsa? Okay, now, chuck sentences. Is that what it's called? Another word for it? Yeah, so it's basically just a couple of words, especially if you're doing English teaching, you know, just to help the students to answer things quicker. So along with doing a video or preparing them for the class, I think that's something you can do. Okay, now let's get to teaching online. Now I put together a list of how many? 10. I always make a list of 10. Wait, maybe 12. Things to talk about. Let me quickly talk about teaching online. Guys, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please put it in there. I don't know I don't know if you saw, yesterday I went and I painted, and I put the painting on my Instagram and on my personal Facebook. I think I put it on my Instagram. And so, yeah, it's this nice little cafe. You go in, you get a coffee, a cake, and then they give you a big canvas to paint. The pictures you can pick from, so it's already drawn, so you just do the painting. And they didn't have a large selection, but eventually I went with Starry Sky, you know, and that was so much fun to paint. And the thing is, so I started painting, but I am not that good at painting. Actually, I'm horrible at painting. But I had so much fun, just, you know, it took me back to being a kid. I think, you know, we should definitely focus on these things to explore our creativity and to do these arty things. I think everybody needs to do it. I heard this comment of someone posted on Facebook. They said there was a teacher who wrote a letter to a lot of authors asking them for advice. Actually, the teacher got the students to write letters to all these authors and asking them for advice. And none of the authors wrote back except one. Yeah, Jinyan, send me a friend request on Facebook. People were going to send you 40... Oh, okay, thank you, Letty. Elsa, thank you for explaining. Send you a video of 40 seconds. Yes, those videos. Okay, yeah, I'm almost at 10,000. I've received some videos. Have I received? I haven't received yours yet. Elsa, Letty, have I received you? Yes. No. Elsa, you're 100% correct. So you can send those to my email account. You can load it, the video, you can load it onto Google Drive, and then you can just send me the link. If it's not very big, you can just email it to me. I'll quickly write down my email here. You can send it there. Yeah, actually, I got some videos. A lot of the teachers made some. A lot of my friends. My parents made some. I really like my parents. They did a great job. And now tomorrow I'm just going to edit them together. Hopefully, I think I'm going to hit 10,000 subscribers. I was greedy, or well, I had high expectations. I thought it would be by today, but it's probably going to realistically be either Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. And then as soon as it comes out, I'm just going to make a quick intro to say thank you to everyone, and then I'm just going to let the video run with all these great tips. So please send it to me. What's my Facebook ID? You can add me at my name's not here. Yeah, let me quickly write my name here. Eric Oscar West. Yeah, so there we go. That's my name. And my middle name, if you guys didn't know, my middle name's Oscar. What was I going to say? Yeah, Elsa, so please send it to me. Nino, actually, when doing online class for a first timer like me, it's hard to look at the lens of the camera to look at my students. As yeah, it seems like. How can I improve it? I think it's just going to take practice. So for me, for example, you know, I mean, it's so natural to look at our students. But even for me, when I'm talking to you guys now, I've got my webcam on and I can see myself. So it's difficult for me not to look at myself. I'm just training myself to look at the camera, and it looks a lot better than me looking down like this, right? So I think, you know, it's just going to take practice for you to start looking into your camera like this. If you're using a webcam, just focus on the camera. If you have to, just put a little sign up there, you know, that reminds you, look at the camera lens, you know, just use a small note to put at the back of your webcam or behind your computer, just to say, remember to look at the screen. So for me, for example, I should have a paper that says all the words I use over and over again, like so, like, to try not to use that. It's great for us, you know, because when you are online, the students can see everything that's happening around you. Oh, anyway, back to my story. I'm jumping around. I would like to say I'm not normally like this. I don't jump around with content, but hopefully you guys can follow along. I'll get back to the tips soon. Migam, or put a smiley sticker over the webcam. Nice. Okay, but then you look, won't it cover the webcam if you put a smiley sticker over it? Because you need to look there, right? Or just put it somewhere to remember to smile. I think that's another thing, you know. I constantly tell myself too, you know, remember to smile. Migam, yeah. So back to the story. So this one author replied to them. I should actually look it up, but he replied. He said, in your life, spend time doing something creative. If it's to write, if it's to dance, if it's to act, if it's to sing, if it's to play a musical instrument, because doing those, you have to be part of the creation process. You have to create to keep your spirit alive. And if you put that out into the world, it doesn't need to be shown to anyone. You know, you can just write in a book or your journal and close it and not share it with anyone. But just that act of creating something will make your soul alive. And I think, you know, even for myself, you know, I don't consider myself creative, but I'm a firm believer that the more you practice something, the better you will become. So I don't believe if someone said, I'm not creative, I'm not good at something. I don't believe that. It's like that rule of the 10,000 hours. You know, I don't remember who wrote that rule. I think it's Maxwell. Oh, what's his name again? Max something. Anyway, he wrote that, yeah, you need 10,000 hours to become a master at something. So if you put in the time, you will master something. Nino, haha, that's nice advice. It's indeed practice makes perfect. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Nicole. Hello from Chile, all in caps. I really like that. Hi, it's so nice to meet you. I should learn some to use. Elsa, am I going to see your video? I'm waiting. Letty, I like to watch the students while giving class so I can give feedback, but that means I don't look at the cam directly. That's all fine. You know, obviously we're going to look at our students, and the students will understand that. If you say, guys, I'm not looking into the mirror, I'm actually looking at you, they'll be like, oh, okay, there's a reason the teacher's not looking at us. It's not, or looking into the camera. You know, but I do think when you are speaking to them, when they're speaking, you know, you can look at them, but try sometimes when you try and give a message, it makes a real difference when you make eye contact with them, because they feel like you're engaging with them, even if it's over the internet. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say is, even for myself, I'm not very good at photography. I'm not very good at painting or drawing. I've tried writing. It was fun, and I think I'm going to write something again, but I don't consider myself a great artist or writer, actually. But with my videos, for example, I'm not that creative moving around, but I'm making stuff, and that's important to me, just to put something out into the world. So I want to encourage all of you to also find something that you can invest your creative energy into. Time to get to the next tips. Okay. Okay. So first tip. The first thing I want to say is, remember that the students are the content providers. I've said this before. Every time before a class, I have a warm-up where I put the students into groups and I ask them to bring something. Bring a photo of their last weekend, their favorite trip. What did they do last week? Any moment that they have, or bring their favorite toy that they can show, or so get them to bring that, and then when they first come to class, put them into groups, tell them to talk about it and introduce that to their friends. Then when they come back, you have each person from a group, or two people from a group, quickly talk about what their picture. And that way they can also learn how to use the Zoom things. Because like I said before, with those picker things that I do, the main idea is for them to learn how to use Zoom. Because if they can master the platform, it'll be easier to do the activities with them, because then it will get smoother and smoother and smoother. But you want to teach them in a fun way, not send them a video how to use Zoom. You want to engage them and make learning fun. Another thing a lot of teachers do is they have scavenger hunts. So if you're teaching online, you can say, okay, everyone, find me something red. Find me something starting with the letter G. So they have to run around. First they get something red and they show maybe a purse, or their shoes, something red. If you say, find something that starts with the letter G, they run around and they grab their grandma and bring their grandma up. So you can do scavenger hunts like that, and you can also ask them, bring me a book, and they bring a book and they share what they read in the book, what it's about, make it interesting. Their lives should be the content for what you do. I mean, that's what teaching is, it's connecting it to their real lives. And with the thing is, when they're at school, they are limited. What do they have? They've only got what they've got on, they've got what's in their bags, and they've got their ideas. But it's difficult for them, especially language learners, to just use their memories and their ideas. So what you want to do, the great positive, or the great benefit of them being online, they're probably at home, you say, okay, go fetch something for me, show it to us, just like show and tell. So every day can be a show and tell, and kids love to share things about themselves, right? So we are very lucky with that. Okay, Migam, when you do breakout rooms, do you observe them doing group work or give them feedback after the activity? Migam, very important. What I do is, I switch off my camera and then I go to each group and check what they're doing. It is difficult because you're not sure how well the students perform, and it can be difficult, especially if you've got students that don't like to work very hard, so that you go into the room and they're quiet. Then I get upset at them. And so if I go into a room and they're not talking, they're not practicing, I get very upset with them, and I let them know, listen, this is your chance to practice. This isn't just some time to mess around. So yes, I go into every group, and I also write down some notes. So, I've got a paper with the students' names, and every week I make notes to get to know my students too. You can have the small booklet that you have where you write down student notes, especially if I see there's a mistake they make with grammar, or if they have a problem with some vocabulary, or if there's something, if their presentation skills aren't very good, or pronunciation, I make notes of it. And then when all the students come back, I say, okay, everyone, I saw these mistakes, and I explain it. And the great thing about that is I don't have to explain it to every group, because I give them chance to practice. What I'm going to do, and by explaining it to all the students, the students that were in the groups, they don't feel personally attacked, and they're learning from it, and their friends can learn from those error corrections as well. So that's my tip. Go into these groups. I go into each group, check in on them. If they're doing well, I'm just quiet, I just watch. But if I see they're not doing something right, or I want to help them a little bit, then I'll talk. But I was talking to the other professor about this, and I think it's very important. We have to emphasize to students what we want them to do in the breakout rooms. So just like in class, we want them to be exactly sure what they have to do in the breakout groups. So you have to prepare them well too. Tell them exactly what you want them to do. You can give them a time limit. The other thing that I would add is I would teach them very quickly how to use whiteboards, or I will get them to make notes as evidence. So I would say if they go into the breakout groups, I will tell them one of the students should be the leader, and they should open up the whiteboard, and they are responsible for writing down the ideas. All of them can write it down, and then they have to save screen so that when they come back to the main group after the activity, after the breakout room, they can actually share their ideas, and they can show the paper what they were talking about. What is the word? It keeps them something. It keeps them responsible. No, what is that word? Anyway, Nicole, this works for me. It's very useful to motivate students and get them energized and feel comfortable, but sometimes it's too difficult for me to finish the activity. Why is it difficult to finish, Nicole? Is it sometimes too difficult? No, listen, one of the things I said it in one of my other videos is it's actually good to end an activity early. Make sure that you give everyone a short chance, or pick students to do it, but you want to end the activity before it gets boring. I've talked about this in one of my teaching tips videos, so make sure you end that activity before they get bored. And you want to control the pace of the lesson, just like that. Oh yeah, by the way, because they are having fun with the starting activity, yes, but you've got things you want to teach them. You need to go through that book, so they need to stop. And if you stop it early, they're going to be so excited to do it next time too. So keep on doing that, but be prepared to stop it, right? You're the teacher, you control if they're having fun or not. Mika, there's something extra I wanted to say about the breakout groups. There's something extra I wanted to say. Anyway, I'll get back to it. Now, let's go to... is everybody okay? Please put in your comments or your questions. Let's see. Number 2, just a minute. Now, this is something that is really fun. It's also just almost like a warm-up activity. Write down topics on the board behind you, or you can write it on the whiteboard, and then the students have to pick a topic and talk about it for 1 minute. So you can, once again, you pick the students first, you pick the order in which they do it, or if they're going to do it in a breakout room, you can save screen and send them the document through the messenger so they open it up. And so let's say you write down 10 topics. The first student picks a topic and they scratch it out. He or she has to talk about the topic for 1 minute. So it doesn't matter, they just have to start talking. They can't they can't be silent. They have to talk for 1 minute about that topic. And you can do it for your specific lessons too. You can perhaps pick topics or words, or you can pick words and say, okay, I want you to make a sentence out of that. It doesn't have to be 1 minute. But the idea is that there's a list that the students have to complete, and each student should get a turn, and then they cross it out to complete all of that. I think, one of the things that I really like about my activity videos is that, there's a list to it, and people love lists. We call them listicles. It basically means that, people love to complete things. that's one of the things that our brains are wired. We want to complete things. So if you give them a list, it will motivate your students to actually cross all of them out. Hi, Martin, you made it. What did you miss? I am not tired. I am very energetic, and we were talking just Mrs. Abiola. It's good to see you. Yeah, Martin. Yeah, we've just been talking. I've just been giving. I'm actually at number 2 of the tips, so I'm a little bit slow today. Otherwise, I've just been jumping around ideas. I was talking about the first one, use students as content providers, so they can bring photos and things from their lives to share when you teach online, which is great. It's a great benefit. And then the second one, I talked about just a minute. It's where you write 10 topics on the board, and students have to talk about a topic for 1 minute, cross it out. And you can also just, if you want to practice vocabulary, you can write down vocabulary, and every student should make a sentence using that word. What was I going to say next? I was going to say something. I'm so forgetful today. Martin, how are you doing? Everyone, how are you doing? Martin also has a channel. Check it out. Student images. That's right. Using that. Now, I wanted to say something about this just a minute. A really good thing I wanted to say. Hopefully it'll get back to me. Okay, now, number 3. Yeah, listicles. Why lists are so important. So people like to complete things. That's actually, I heard that's why, if you have a song stuck in your head, you know how you solve it? You just have to listen to the song completely. Because they say the reason we have a song stuck in our head, it's usually you just repeating the same lines or the same lyrics over and over again. But if you listen to that whole song completely, your brain will be satisfied that it's complete, and that's the best way to forget about it. Now, number 3, what are you cooking? What you can do is you give students a list of ingredients and tell them that they have to plan a 3-course meal. And the beautiful thing of this is you give them the same ingredients, but they're going to come up with vastly different ideas. Well, maybe some of them the same, but you're going to see something else. Yeah, they call that an earworm because it's stuck in your ear. Yeah, I remember that. I haven't really heard anyone use that. I might be wrong, but I haven't really heard it that much. But this can work with stories too. It doesn't have to be cooking ingredients. You can give students some vocabulary and you say, okay, make me a story. Right? And then they have to tell a story using these words. Oh, sorry, I apologize. That is good to know. Okay, yeah, I heard it in Big Bang Theory. Yeah, maybe I heard it there too. Yeah, Big Bang Theory. I actually watched a video about it today. How they said that the first season, a lot of things have changed to the rest of the season, about the characters. But it's like that in any story, you start with the main idea and it evolves as it goes along. So you can give students a lot of vocabulary, and in their groups or alone, they can come up with a story. Like I said before, you can actually do this as a warm-up where for homework, you send the students 10 words or 5 words, and they have to create a story using these words. And when they come to class the next day or whenever class is, you can say, okay, tell us your story, and they would have written it down. I think that's fun homework because the students are being creative and they're using the language. Okay, everybody still good? We're at 40 minutes. Oh man, do you guys also feel this week went by so quickly? I feel like just yesterday I was talking to everyone, and now it's this time again. Martin says, it's like in the classroom. Let the students learn. The students are characters, develop tasks or story, reach a conclusion. That is exactly right. Now, number 4 is a famous one, categories. If the students are there, put them in groups, tell them, okay, give me, or if the students are there, you can say, okay, everyone, give me 5 animals, give me an animal. And it's like that game where you play categories, and everybody has to say a car brand, a car make, or a chocolate, or a type of, a color. They have to go around, and as soon as somebody can say anything, they're out. You can do something like that. You can tell them, please give me 5 foods, 5 weather patterns, 5 beverages, 5 vegetables, 5 desserts. you know, anything like that. Another one, do you remember where you have to find, I think you get these you get these categories, for example, letter, name, animal, film, singer, food, and then you give the students A, and they have to write down a name, Andrew, a letter A, Andrew, alligator, singer, starting with an A. Somebody give me a singer starting with the letter A. I can't think of Adele. Still got it. Adele. I bet everyone shouted Adele at the screen right now. Martin says, I like categories, but alphabetize it first. Start with A and then end in Z. But to put students in two groups facing the boards, they are writing the words on the board. Yeah, that's nice. We're looking at online. So I think what I would do is put them into groups and they can write it on the whiteboard, and they should learn how to save the whiteboard early so that they can share it with the rest of the class. What you can also do is give the students different letters. So this group, they've got to do A, B, C. This group, you know, D, E, F. So each group has maybe 3, and you see who's finished first. They can do that. Okay, everybody okay with that? When I ask them to create a story, they always write a horror story. Yeah, there's this fun activity. If you have a class and you know you just want them to practice writing, one of the fun things to do is you give everyone a paper and you say, okay, everyone, start writing a story. And then after a couple of minutes, give it to your partner. After a couple of, they have to continue that story. And that's always fun. It does get a bit long towards the end because they have to read everything first and then write. So it shouldn't be too long, but that's also really fun to do that. And I remember one of the mistakes I made is you give them, I said, it's a dark and stormy night and the door opens. So obviously everybody's going to make a horror story. But yeah, I do like how our students often go to horror because I think they want to keep it fun and exciting. I mean, it's really difficult to write action. It's very difficult to write, nobody wants to write a normal story. So it's usually some sci-fi action, some horror, because they want to, that's actually the beautiful thing about our students. They want to put emotion into their stories, and that's why they go to horror, right? It's difficult to write comedy, and, it's difficult to write action because, you've got to explain everything. But Saima, hi, can you tell me something about the poll? Well, the poll is just me asking what you want to hear today. And so many people asked me to talk about online activities and online ideas. So I'm sharing some activities right now. I'll make some videos in the future of it too. Obviously, I'll cover those other topics too. I'll make some videos for that later too. But right now, just that. Coffee pot shopping. Okay, that's nice. That sounds difficult to explain. Sorry. I missed it. I read the last part. Describe something using the word is also a fun activity. Using it online. Yeah, it's difficult setting up tasks that require a lot of preparation. Yeah, that's why I just tell the students, you're in a group, go into the room, write it down. I want the letter A. You can give them, obviously you have to give them an example too. And then Martin says, I usually coffee pot at the weekend with my family. When coffee potting, we usually take our car. Okay, so using it in a sentence, I like that. Coffee pot equals shopping. Okay. I meant describing, let's say, coffee pot without saying coffee pot. Okay, so yeah, that's really fun, but that's almost like taboo. Actually, I think I've got some taboo cards here where you've got a word they have to describe, and then below it, they've got taboo words that they can't use to describe that word. Now, of course, you're going to scaffold. So you show them the card, and then they say, okay, you have to explain this top card. And these bottom words can help you describe that word if it's difficult for you. Then maybe 5 minutes later I say, stop. I think it's too difficult. Let's change the rule. Now I want you to describe this top word, but these words below it are taboo. I've got those cards somewhere. I'll show it. I wish I still had I don't remember where I found that document or that worksheet. Otherwise, I would have given it to you guys. But I'll show it to you a bit later if I can find it somewhere. Okay. Yeah. And what's the next thing I wanted to say? Yeah. So categories, really fun. We can do stuff like that. Okay, did anyone go coffee potting this weekend? I should have. Did I? No, I didn't buy anything. I just went out with friends and I painted. So thirsty. Okay, let's see. Martin says, I found I need to email the worksheets or vocabulary for a game online to the students prior to the class so they understand what is expected. Tough preparing live online. Yeah, see, it's difficult when you've got complicated games. So I tend to try to only use simple games that are easy to explain and easy to do, because, especially for students, if it's a second language, they need to be clear. And if they don't know what to do, it's really difficult for them to actually perform well. So yeah, if you've got a difficult activity, great idea, send them an email or send them a message. I normally take a video and I send it to them, explaining it to them, or some papers. Okay, now, is everybody good? Let's go to the next one. Number 5. I've got 15 minutes left, so I have to go quicker. Fluency practice. This is an easy one. Tell students to prepare a story that should be about 60 seconds, okay, 1 minute. So tell them, I want you to quickly talk about your week. You can write, I don't want you to let them write it down, otherwise they will just read, but they can write down some words if they forget. So they have to tell a story of 60 seconds. Then they can write down the vocabulary, but not everything, otherwise it defeats the purpose. So once they've told that story in 60 seconds, you say, good, tell that story again in 40 seconds. Now they have to tell the same story, but they're practicing to say it faster. Hence, they're improving their fluency. And then after that, you say, okay, well, let's make it in 20 seconds. So they have to tell that story very fast. So they're practicing their fluency. I think that's a fun game that you can play in the groups. You tell the students, okay, I'm going to put you 3 in a group. Tell your story. It should take 60 seconds. I want the other ones in the group to time him or her. And then once they go around, you're like, good, okay, now let's do it 50 seconds or 40 seconds. And that's a great activity because they already know the words and they're going to start getting confidence to do that. Oh, that's 432. Yeah, I think I've read it somewhere. That's probably what it's called. Thank you, Migam. And Martin says, I guess once you've done it once with the students, they understand the expectations, then it's easier to prepare afterwards. Negotiating the task is, I suppose, one way of learning. Yeah, Martin, I think so. And most teachers, we've got a similar way of doing our classes. So the students become used to the activities that we do and what is expected of them. Definitely. So, it's going to be perhaps difficult that first time, but after that, they'll get used to it. A person can tell a story, then another student can retell the story. Letty, great idea. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to put that in. Student can steal their friends, can retell it. Student can retell their friends' idea. Thank you. I'm going to steal that one from you, Letty. That's a great one. Number 6, role play. This is easy. Students create. You tell students this is your situation. Create a dialogue. Use the vocabulary that you've learned. This is good if you've already been through the vocabulary or the grammar. You can give them examples of what grammar they have to use, what expressions, and then they do it. Chain stories as well, right, Martin? I think that's what I meant with writing the stories. Those are just called chain stories too. So students can start a story and then the next student continues it around the class. Yeah, that's what I talked about with the writing activities. It's just called chain stories. Mrs. Abiola, I'm new in this business about teaching and I'm so glad for these tips. It's a pleasure having you here, Mrs. Abiola. I mean, all of us, we're learning. No one's perfect, and I'm picking up so many ideas. Hi, my dad's here too. Hi, Dad. He's been working very hard. My mom's here too. Sorry, just a bit late. Mom, I was actually telling, Letty was saying that they were having a roast for lunch, and I was telling, oh, no. Letty, what did you have? But you were talking about roast. Let me quickly check. You said, yeah, hi, it's Sunday. I'm having a hot lunch. Salad in England. Sunday meant big family roast lunch. Yeah, and I was just telling everyone, you know, I really miss when I was young. My mom would always make roast chicken or roast lamb with potatoes. It was fantastic. I really miss that. But unfortunately, I can't think of food right now. I'm a bit tired. Tired is my new word for a little hungover still. Martin, great minds think alike. Letty, the students love to listen to something that has happened to me, which is related to the topic. Definitely. Potluck, an African term. I came across this with some friends. Yeah, well, I think originally it's, it's universal, really. I think, you know, that's... was it American first? But no, I've met Europeans that use potluck too. But I think it started in the States. I'm speaking under correction. But yeah, I think it comes from the States, Martin. Okay, number 7. Picture prompts. We were talking about this before. You show the students a photo. They tell you what they see. And you can, once they talk about what they see, you can lead them to make longer sentences to describe the picture. They can also, you know, guess what's going to happen next, or think what happened to lead up to the situation. It's also fun if you've got a picture that is, you know, a really busy place, and you can ask them, what do you see? Like if it's a room, a messy room, you say, okay, what can you spot? Where is it? You know, and yeah, let them create stories about that. Okay, good. Getting past it, we've got 9 minutes left. I know I could go longer maybe, but you know, I like to keep it 1 hour so people know how long it is. I guess I could go. Well, let's just finish and we'll see. Then, number 9, use current events. So, this is important. You can show them a video clip or photo of something that's happening in the news. You can ask them about what's happening in their lives. You know, there should be some news events. I feel like, you know, the news is so much part of our lives, you know, and I think a lot of people, you know, they get addicted to watching the news, where if you think about it, it's good to be informed, right? I used to love listening to the radios in the morning, and I learned so much, you know, it's really good. But I think there's also a limit where no amount of news is going to change the way your life is going, right? It's good to be informed, the main ideas and stuff, but if you're getting into the news too much, you know, most of it is negative. They're only going to focus on the negative, and you know, it's stuck in your head. So I would suggest not taking in so much news. Potluck for food. Yeah, no, Martin, that's what I was talking about. So potluck is where everybody brings a different food, right? Yeah, I think that's American. Letty, when I'm listening to a student, I repeat the same idea using other or similar words so they can see there's another way to say the idea. Yes, that's exactly what we do as teachers. I was talking about it last week where I said, you know, there are different ways to do error correction, and one of the ways is to repeat the sentence correctly on a different way. And I think as teachers, we do that a lot to help our students see that there are different ways to say something. Definitely. Okay, yeah, so use current events. You can also use vocabulary from there and let the students talk about it. You know, maybe a lot of them want to talk about it. Okay, 11. I skipped a few. Odd one out. So you share a list of things and they have to choose which one doesn't fit. So you can have, you know, let's say you've got water, cola, coffee, and you know, you can say apple, and then they can say which one is the odd one out. Now they can take something like apple, and then you ask them why. They say, well, the others are beverages. Or they can choose coffee and say, well, it's because this one is hot. Or they can take water and say, well, the others can sometimes have sugar in them. You know, apple has natural sugar. Cola has a lot of sugar. Shouldn't drink that much cola anymore. And then coffee, you can add some sugar to your coffee. So yeah, I've got a list. You can find it at ISL Collections. It's a website. Where is that again? Yeah, ISL Collections. It's like a worksheet. You just log in and you can download worksheets. I really like that website. Let me quickly find it and then I'll just write it down for you. ISL Worksheets. Oh, let's see. ESL worksheets. I'll just look it up. Yeah, it's called ISL Collective. Let me quickly put it in the comments, copy, and then I'll quickly put it in here for you. Where is the chat? Here's the chat. Give me 1 second. Here you go. This is a great site. I'm sure many of you already know it. So I found a great one there where you can just type in odd one out. It's a really good activity to do with your students. Give it to your students in their groups. They come back and they tell you why they picked these things. And you can create your own too. You know, don't be limited or by other worksheets. Create your own. It's very simple, especially if you want to make it interesting. Okay, then almost done. 5 minutes left. The next one, bragging. So in Korea, we've got an issue where the students are very modest. They're very modest. Even if they're really good at something, they're like, no, I'm okay. You know, it's really funny. I always tell my students I want them to be overconfident, because in Korea, you know, they're very modest, which is really good. So I always tell them the story. I said, yeah, this other day I sat on the bus and I started talking to the student next to me, and he said, oh, I'm sorry, my English isn't very good. He was such a liar. He spoke to me so well, you know. And then I tell him, but he was very modest. He said, sorry, I can't speak English well. And then he continued to speak English very well. And then I told them the story, well, you know, in many Western countries, I would say Canadians or Americans, because that's how we see them, we like their confidence. And the guy would come up and he's like, yo, I can speak Korean so well. Annyeong hase yo. And the students all laugh because they understand that. And I tell them, listen, I want you to be more confident in class. Because if you're not confident, you're not going to speak that well. Migam, you said, how do you react to your students' creative answers but apparently wrong one? Well, praise first. You say, you know, I love it that you're creative, because before I told you how I give corrections, first I praise them, give the correction, and then another, you know, motivating them. So what I would do is I would laugh and say, well, that's a great answer, but let's do the right one. So, and you know, there aren't really any mistakes. You want them to engage with it. Are you talking about picking the wrong odd one out? Well, that's up to them. They can give any reasons they want. But in general, if they give a creative answer, but it's still wrong, praise them first. Tell them, I love it that you're creative, but we can go with this one. Letty, what is the game using photos? If you put the photos together, they make a word. Hair, scissors, haircut. Yeah, so Christina did a video on that, where you use, what are they called again? Compound nouns, where you put words together to make one. If you go to Christina's channel, Plan for Fun ESL, recently I was on a video there with her. I think I put it in my community page too, where I chatted with her. Yeah. Jinyon, how are you doing? It's so good to see you here still. Jinyon has been so active. He sent me a lot of messages. I'm so happy. Thank you so much, Jinyon. Okay, so it brought me to 12. I want the students to be more confident. So you can do the bragging game. Start by using a simple sentence. For example, I live in a house. The next student has to brag. They have to exaggerate it. I live in an expensive house. And then the next student has to brag some more. I live in an expensive house with a butler. The next one goes, I live in an expensive house with a butler and a Ferrari. And they continue, and you know, it's almost like that game where you have to say, you know, you say each student's name, or what is it? It's called something. It's like a party game where you have to go around and try and say as many as possible without making a mistake. It's like that, but now they're using vocabulary, or they're just making it fun. Don't let it go on for too long, otherwise it gets boring. You can change it up. Maybe you make it more difficult, or you ask them they can't use they can't use certain words, or yeah, just make different fun rules that they have to do, or they have to say it in a funny accent, or they have to do it in a different way. So all these games, you know, if you are creative, many of the games I use is just on there. Yes, I saw you. You didn't do well, Letty. I was under a lot of pressure. I couldn't think very quickly. No, I didn't do very well. I was watching. So I agreed to do that video. If you guys haven't seen it, so Christina, she put these words together and she asked me, okay, Eric, you should be the student. So I went on there, and I got a lot wrong. And then afterwards, I told Christina, no, I think you shouldn't put this out. I don't look very smart on this. And she's like, no, I'm going to put it out. I'm like, fine. So yeah, I got a lot wrong. Thank you for reminding me, Letty. Yeah. So what is the next one? Okay, yeah. So bragging, the students continue to brag. And I think we should tell our students to be more confident, especially when they're using, a second language. Yeah, that's one thing. I think I'm a good sport, usually. I think, yeah, maybe was I always this way? I don't think so. I think maybe when I was younger, I wasn't as good a sport, but, it's all in good fun, And then the last one, classmate speculation. Provide a verb that students can easily make sentences with, and then think of information about your student using the given verb and start the sentence with, I think that you. Let's say, for example, the verb is like. You can say, I think you like chocolate. If the verb is eat. I think you eat vegetables. So the students can actually, so tell the students, especially if there's an order or they can see each other, they have to say something about a friend. Or so you say, okay, everyone, I think that I want you to speculate. And this is also a really fun thing to do in real life too. When you go out and you meet new people, it's sometimes fun, and you kind of guess things about them. Instead of asking them, oh, what's your job? What's your favorite food? Just go, I think that you are a nurse, Or you can go up to them and say, I think that your favorite food is spaghetti that your mom makes. And then they would say yes or no, and it's way more fun because they can correct you and they can talk about it. So I think, I think if you do things like this, it will also make you more confident, because instead of you asking questions, you're actually using statements, which makes you a little bit more powerful. And you can use it in the class too. Use statements to guess. Even if you're wrong, they're going to correct you. It's like, no, I'm actually an astronaut, or how did you know my mom's spaghetti is the best, So you can use that for fun, and just use that in real life too. But get your students to do it too, tell them to start speculating, and you can just do it in class, okay, pick someone and speculate about them, and you go through the class, you say their names, and they can do it. That's also a really fun activity. Okay, I think I made it. How is everyone doing? I went a little bit over. That's good. Letty says, I like speculation. That's a good one. Guys, did you learn anything today? I know I would like to say that it's different from how I usually am, but that's a lie. I'm usually all over the place. But I want to say thank you so much for being here. I was a bit tired today, but every time I talk to you, I feel a little bit better. But now I'm just going to relax. Next week is another week. Going to do some work. If you haven't, make that video, introduce yourself, give us a teacher tip, and then I can put it in my compilation video. I'll probably do that tomorrow or Tuesday. I will give you as much time as possible, but as soon as I hit 10,000 subscribers, that evening at maybe 9 p.m. my time, so 1 p.m. GMT, I will put out that video. So as soon as I hit 10,000, I'm going to do it. Jinyan, thank you so much. Nicole, thanks for a motivational Sunday. That's what I do, but I'm motivated because of you. Migam, hopefully next week you'll hit 10K. I think I will, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. So if you haven't yet, send me a video. Migam sent me one, thank you. Elsa, yeah, thank you so much for making it. Mrs. Abiola, Letty, it was pleasant to share time together with you all. Okay, everyone, have a great week next week, and send me those. Yeah, I'll talk to you next time. Oh, before I forget, let's say everyone that was here. Jinyan, Letty, Paul, my brother, Vahid, Jinyan, again, because he spoke a lot. Elsa was here. Migam, you said, Nino, Ryan was here. Ryan, you should take part in the conversation if you're still here. Who else did we have? Just going down. Nicole, you were here. Nicole, so lovely to have you. Martin, it was a pleasure as always. Christina wasn't here. I'll have to have a talk with her. Saima, you were here. I can't wait to share your video too, Saima. Mrs. Abiola, thank you so much for coming. Who else? Did I get everyone? I think so. Oh, and my parents, of course. Irene, hi. It's so nice to have you. Good to come in at the end. It's so lovely to have you here. Everyone, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.